Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flame. So in this video we're going to talk about Mr. Sneaky Pete because Pete is currently in rehab. It is said that Pete is not doing so well and he's getting the necessary help that he needs. Now, let's talk about karma, shall we? Also, there's one thing for certain, and that is whenever a man dates a Kardashian, they're never ever the same. Tested, tried, and proven. They're never the same. If you guys remember, it was last year that Kim and Pete allegedly cooked up this entire thing saying that Ye was the reason why Pete was in trauma therapy when Pete has always spoken openly about his mental illness. But Kim wanted to shift energy and put the blame on Ye for that. Kim and Pete, they taunt Ye. They try to make that man unstable. But do you see how life plays out? Because what Pete wanted to happen to Ye is what is happening to him right now. Let me tell you something. The scale has to be balanced. I mean, Ye needs to give us that prayer book because honestly, I don't think he's praying. I think he just doesn't care. I think when someone tries to do something to him, he just trusts and believes in God and just keep it moving. And I believe that Ye is also very much empathetic. I believe that this is the last thing he would want to see happening to Pete, but at the same time, he would laugh and say, Pete is getting his karma because this is what Pete and Kim tried to do to him. The articles are there, if you guys have been following us here, we have spoken about it. Kim telling Pete to get a restraining order against Ye when Ye wasn't doing anything to that man. It was that man who was doing it to Ye, right? And then when that didn't work, we saw the media outlet saying that Pete was in trauma therapy because of Kanye. Now Kanye is neither here nor there for Kim or Pete. Kanye is somewhere living his best life. At this point, we're not even sure if it is Tokyo, Japan anymore, but Kanye is somewhere living his best life. Pete has entered into rehab, and they're saying that his mental health has everything to do with it. He has always been honest about his mental health, and you see, that is something that you have to respect someone for. Also, when it comes to, medical condition, it's not just mental health. Some medical conditions are not something, well, not some medical conditions, but medical conditions are not something that people buy. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it just happens. So we just want to wish Pete a speedy recovery. But like hell, are we going to talk about it? Of course, we're going to talk about it because we thought that Pete was standing strong from the Kardashian curse, but evidently he's not doing so well. Now, it is said that Pete suffers from borderline personality disorder and PTSD. Page 6 was the first to report the news. He has always joked about that on his comedy special as well. He has always joked about it. Um, in his defense, he has used dark humor to survive his mental health, but I believe that Pete was wrong when he allowed Kim to get to him. And it's not just that he dated Kim, he went into a relationship with Kim. He was playing with Ye and his kids because he was doing that and he was well aware that he was messing up this family. You want to date the woman, but leave the kids out of it. Leave the kids out of your mess and your drama. And he did not have any limitations when it comes to that. So I believe that some people are still, unforgiving to Pete because he was there, playing games with Kim to taunt Ye. But I believe that, he can bounce back. And sometimes some people's forgiveness are not even necessary because these people are just on the internet. They don't interact with him on a day-to-day basis. They don't share the same home or workspace or anything like that. And even if they did, people are who they are. You cannot control everything. But again, I have to say that the men Whenever a guy dates a Kardashian, his life is never ever the same. But let's talk about it. They're saying a close friend of Pete tells us his girlfriend Chase Sui wonders, and his other friends are rallying behind him and are by his side, telling us Pete periodically check himself into work on these issues. So that's good to take. That is something that takes great strength to do based on my understanding and based on, what a few specialists have said. When someone is willing to take the first step to get themselves the help that they need, it is a tremendous effort that they have to make in order to do so. So I'm just happy that he, was well enough to get himself the help that he needs. He knows that his mom and his sister needs him more than anything else. I don't think Chesui is even his priority at this point, to be very honest, because if you know Pete's story, you know that he's committed to his family, and his family, his mom and his sister, they are his primary focus. And that is what I love and respect about Pete. The rest of it is just a hot mess, but we want him to be good because I believe that everyone deserves to be living their best life. But with the Kardashian, it may take an exorcist for Pete to get over this, to be honest. Now they're saying that Pete's been a bit of an open book when it comes to his battle with his mental health, often laying it all out there during his weekend update segment on the long-running variety series. Yeah, I told you guys, I've watched a few of them, not into them because I don't find Pete even remotely funny, to be honest, no disrespect. Maybe I'm a stiffy, but I don't find him to be even remotely funny. But I've watched a few of his comedy series just to get an understanding of his personality, who he is, what he was battling. And when you see someone uses dark humor to that level, you know that they've been through a lot. They're still fighting a lot. So from just watching his comedy series, you could tell a little bit about him. And that is when I also discovered that he long had an obsession with Ye. But let's continue. Okay, they're saying that he also got candid during a 2021 Actors Variety interview, telling Glenn Close he felt like the weight of the world was lifted off his shoulder when he was diagnosed with BPD, and that's bipolar disorder, because he knew something was wrong with him and he knew that he had to get help. So when he was diagnosed with that, it was confirmation. He didn't have to struggle internally anymore with what was going on with him. So he accepted it and he did his best, to live with it and move on. And honestly, I believe that he has been doing a very terrific job until Kim Kardashian. I believe Kim is the one who triggered Pete down to this point, because the moment that we learned the relationship between him and Kim was over, we learned, and then Kim was, pretending as though they were still in communication. Kim was telling lies that, they still talk. Pete doesn't like the manner in which Ye speaks to her. And Kim was pretending that Pete was sending her gifts. Pete did not appreciate it because he wanted to close that chapter of his life and move on. That is quite clear, quite comprehensible. But Kim, being the narcissist that she is, she just could not afford to let him go. And then Pete had a meltdown on the set of Bob Kiss and said he's just tired of that woman. He wants her to keep his effing name out of her mouth. And that was the moment Kim realized that Pete was about to go unhinged on her if she didn't stop. So she stopped. And we thought that Pete would have been doing better since then, but unfortunately, that's not the case. But I believe that Pete is going to make a comeback because, again, as they say, once the individual makes the first step, which is the very important step for themselves, it means that they are willing to put in the work to recover. So this means that Pete is willing to put in the work to ensure that he's the best version of himself. Pete is not the only one who is living with bipolar disorder. More than 50% of Hollywood is living with bipolar disorder. Do the checks for yourself. Many people find it alarming that there are so many celebrities with bipolar disorder. Who can I remember off the top of my... I can remember Selena Gomez, Mariah Carey, but there's more. And Amanda Bynes. If you look at the child star, people who were involved in Hollywood from early stages, many of them are said to be have diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and just many other celebrities. And if they don't tell you, you don't know. So Pete can live the best version of himself once he gets on the right path, and he's already on that right path. We're not going to talk about the car that ran off the road, because accidents do happen. Not because he has bipolar, it doesn't mean that that's why he crashed. Not because he has bipolar, that's not why he went ham on that lady at PETA. We're not going to throw everything at this guy now. We're going to give him a break, okay? But I just want to take this opportunity to wish Pete all the best. I do hope that he recovers and come back to his sweet, disgusting, silly self. And that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are, and see you all next time. Bye, guys.